Hi, I'm Linda Fox. I'm senior reporter with PhocusWire, and I'm in the PhocusWire studio at the Phocuswright Conference. Delighted to welcome Paul Abbott, CEO of American Express Global Business Travel. Paul, welcome.
Thank you very much. Nice to be here.
So let's start the fact that you took up the reins 3 years ago, and just kind of take me through what you see as your greatest achievement so far.
Well, it's actually 4 years ago now, believe it or not. But yeah,
when I wrote these questions and I tried to get you to...
It's just 4 years and a couple of months, September 2019. But, well, I don't really have any achievements personally. You know, we have a team of 20,000 people who make everything happen around the world. But I think that team over the last 4 years have frankly transformed the company.
Sure.
If you go back to 2019, you know, we were a market leader, but we were very much a services company. And we had our roots, you know, very much in the depth and breadth of travel management services. You know, fast forward now to 2023, and we are a clear leader in both software and services. You know, we have 77% of our transactions through digital channels. 60% of those are actually on our own software. So very clearly, you know, a scale software player and a leader in both software and services. And that was a clear strategic decision we made 4 years ago.
Right, because you didn't have a lot of that software going back 10 years.
No, we had just around 15% of our transactions going through our own software. Now it's over 60.
Yeah.
You know, so it's a very, very different situation. And it puts us in such a strong competitive situation now to have a leadership position in both software and services. So that's one big change. I think the second big change for us back then is we said, look, we've got a very strong position in global multinational. We had about 25% of our business coming from global multinational clients. Very important segment.
Yep.
Still a segment that's growing and that we're winning share. But we had this massive SME opportunity of 900 billion out there. And so we said we really need to develop a product set that could help us scale in that segment.
Yeah.
And, you know, look, fast forward 4 years, we've now got over 50% of our revenues and profits coming from the SME segment. So, you know, those are two big transformations. But, you know, at the end of the day, is it delivering the results, right?
Right.
And it is.
You just had your earnings, right?
So yeah, earnings have been good. Another good quarter. You know, our traveler satisfaction scores, customer NPS scores, we just announced record new wins last quarter, and we've been consistently gaining share for these last 3 years. So, look, I think we feel very good about what we've achieved over these last few years, and there's certainly a lot more to come.
Okay, good. So what would you say your top 3 priorities coming into 2024?
Easy. We have 3 very clear priorities. Our objective is to deliver unrivaled value, choice, and experiences to customers. And what we mean by that is unrivaled value for us is having the most comprehensive, having the most competitive content in the industry, including NDC. On choice, this is really important. You know, for a business like ours that wants to continue to scale, you've got to provide customers with different solutions in different segments.
Yeah.
So customers buy travel differently. They have different needs. And so for us, we wanted to make sure we had the market leading solution in each of the segments we serve. And we have that now. You know, if you're a small company looking for a turnkey spend management platform, we have that with Neo One, with travel, expense, you know, payments integrated. If you want a turnkey, configurable digital platform that's proven at scale globally, we have that with Agencia. If customers want to actually combine their TMC and an OBT decision, we have that with Neo, and you can have that with expense or without expense. And then some customers say, look, we want to build our own custom program, and we want to integrate the very best of third-party technology. And we have a product called amexgbt Select that allows them to do that. So all of that really is set up to deliver unrivaled choice. And then the third one is experience. You know, this is absolutely critical for us. And to deliver an unrivaled experience in business travel, you need the best people and you need the best technology.
Okay.
And you need to integrate them better than anyone else in the industry. Yeah. So those are the 3 things we're obsessed about: value, choice, and experience.
Okay, two follow-ups there. One briefly. Sure. NDC, you know, you said you wanted to have the best content out there, including NDC, but obviously you've got this kind of long list of what we might call demands before you can kind of get that content. So, I mean, are airlines responding to that? Are the tech players responding to that?
Yeah, I mean, look, I wouldn't call them demands. I think that what we did was you know, put a series of standards out there to help accelerate NDC and to help move the industry forward. Travel is a very complex and very diverse ecosystem. And in order to scale, you need standards. And I think it's been very well received actually by airlines. There's over a dozen features that have been launched by airlines as a direct result of the standards we put out there. Look, we could do what some others do and hook up one API in one country for one customer, send out a press release and declare victory.
Right.
But that's not our responsibility as a market leader, right? We're solving real problems for real customers at scale globally. And we're making very good progress.
Okay.
Now we're already integrated with 10 airlines on NDC, and we'll continue to make progress in the months and years ahead.
Okay. Thinking about the same priorities, widen it out to the travel management community. What should their priorities be for the coming year?
Well, look, I think the wider industry, in terms of priorities, we probably have a couple of challenges on the horizon. I think we have a more uncertain political and economic environment over the next 12, 18 months, and I think we're all going to have to navigate that successfully. I think, secondly, the biggest single challenge we all face together is to create a more sustainable future for the industry. And that requires some pretty bold and pretty aggressive change over the next 12 to 24 months. It requires not just the industry to come together, but public and private sector to come together. We need more subsidies, frankly. We need more government intervention. We need more investment in green tech. And as an industry, we're going to have to play a very, very active role in driving those kinds of changes.
Government intervention as opposed to government regulation. I mean, would you make that distinction? Because what we don't need is more regulation.
Well, look, it's a good point. I mean, I think what we really need is support from governments, frankly, investment and subsidies from governments.
Yeah.
You're right. There've been perhaps a little bit too much of setting targets without actually doing anything to help industry get there. That's not very helpful.
Or dropping targets.
Yeah, or dropping targets. I think what we need is, frankly, in the US, the Inflation Reduction Act included measures that I think are a big step in the right direction. I think actually the blender's tax credit, subsidies, anything that helps, frankly, bring down the cost of things like sustainable aviation fuel, that helps us to scale it and increase demand, are big steps in the right direction. And we're starting to see that also pick up some pace in the European Union and the UK as well. But yes, more investment, more subsidies. Unfortunately, it's going to require a lot of money to make this happen. And that's what we need governments to step up and help us do.
Okay. Now, opportunities for growth, small, medium-sized business or enterprises, whatever you want to call it, that's obviously one for you. Do you feel that now has kind of finally been cracked? Because for years and years and years, everyone talked about cracking that market. Do you think that that's now kind of there, and how have you kind of done it?
No, I don't think it's been cracked. I mean, I think it's a 900 billion segment. 300 billion of it sits with managed travel companies like us. 600 billion of it is unmanaged. It's a big white space. It's out there. Companies using OTAs, companies using airlines direct. And frankly, those companies are just not getting the savings and the service and the control that we offer. So actually, it's not just us, but there are a lot of new entrants and companies that are attacking that SME space. And that's actually good for us. It's good for the industry because it's increasing the size of that managed pie. And so I think there's a tremendous runway ahead of it, not just for us, but for everyone. There's a lot of room for innovation and new models to emerge in the SME segment. So no, I wouldn't say we've cracked the code, but you do need to, sometimes we talk about it like it's one homogenous segment with one set of needs.
Right.
We have 6 sub-segments in SME, 6 buying personas, and we have essentially set our products up against those 6 different buying personas. And if you want to scale, I think that's what you got to do. If you're out there as a one-trick pony, as we say, with like one solution, I think it's much more difficult to scale.
It's not going to cut it. Do you think there's anything in the pandemic that actually helped the business travel segment?
Well, I think there were certainly benefits for our business. It was a very challenging period, of course, but we recognized very early on in the pandemic that it was going to be a defining moment for the industry and a defining moment for our business. And so we knew reputations were going to get tested and relationships were going to get tested. And so we had a very simple mantra. We said, we're going to come through this a stronger company with stronger relationships with customers, with each other, and with our business partners. And that's what honestly kept us focused through that period of time. And it served us really well. I think some companies' reputations and relationships were weakened and damaged during that period. Ours wasn't. As I said, our traveler satisfaction scores, NPS, colleague engagement are all significantly higher than they were pre-pandemic. So I think, like in any crisis, the way you manage through it is under the microscope. I think there were winners and losers, frankly. Yeah. And I think we were one of the winners.
Did you naturally was the natural kind of attrition? Were there customers that just, didn't want to come along with you because of the stance or the strategy you took? Was that a natural part of the process?
No. I mean, customer retention has never been higher, and frankly was really high through the pandemic. So, as I said, I think for us, it was an opportunity to strengthen.
I mean, people needed their agency partners, let's face it.
Yeah, and it was a defining moment, how you managed through those kinds of extreme situations. In many ways, that's what we're built for. We're built to respond to these kinds of major challenges. And that's when our brand is tested. I mean, our brand promise is the powerful backing of amexgbt. So when you're in these situations, you better step up and deliver that.
Yeah.
It definitely was a positive experience in terms of your ability to add value and strengthen your reputation.
Okay. So obviously, NDC...
But I don't want to repeat it, by the way.
I don't think any of us do. So obviously, we've had more than 10 years of NDC evolution. Do you think airline distribution is finally beginning to change?
Yeah, it is beginning to change. And, I think we're certainly seeing momentum now on NDC. I mean, the reality is it's still low single digits in terms of global airfare distribution. So there is a long, long way to go. But we're certainly seeing progress. As I said, we've got 10 airlines now up and running in different parts of the world. We need to see more standardization, in order to scale. We definitely need to see more functionality in certain APIs, particularly in terms of making those APIs work in different environments and making sure they're fully serviceable across all channels. But that's being better understood, and I think we're seeing progress there now. And we need to see the promise of NDC actually come to fruition, right? Yeah. I mean, the promise of NDC is to create this modern retailing environment that is going to create personalized offers, that's going to create new value for customers.
Sure.
And so I think collectively we have a responsibility as it grows to make sure we're delivering on that promise, because that's what we've told customers. And that's what needs to happen.
Standardization of a standard. Who'd have thought it? Okay, let's wrap up here. Is business travel now back?
Absolutely, business travel is back. Look around you. Yes, I mean, business travel is definitely back.
Conferences are back. Is it any different?
No, look, I think sometimes people talk about business travel as sort of one consistent segment. I mean, if you look at our business, we are working with energy, marine, offshore mining companies. We have software that actually helps crew rotations in and out of mines, in and out of offshore rigs. We're working with media and entertainment companies doing film production, doing music tours, doing stadium events. We have the largest meetings and events company, in the world. We have a company that just does travel for lawyers. We have 50% of the top 100 law firms in the United States. So business travel takes on many, many different shapes and sizes. And of course, some sectors have come back quicker than others. But overall, I think the demand is really strong, and I think the outlook is strong. Obviously, we'd all like to see a more positive macroeconomic environment that gives us a bit of a tailwind. But yeah, I think the demand is strong.
Paul, thanks so much for joining us.
Thank you. Thanks. Enjoyed the conversation. Thank you.